All right, so we are back. We apologize for that, for everyone out there that was watching and listening. We had some technical difficulties. We are back right now. So I want to just touch upon again, I want to get Joe's point of view because we were having some connectivity issues from our ends. Joe, so overall, do you think what would happen with Patrick Reed? Do you think that this will have any outlying effect? Do you think we'll see this again, or what's your take on that?
I mean, if we're gonna see it again, I'd probably. I mean, this isn't the first time he's done it. I don't see why it would be the last. I don't. I think there's going to be a little bit more eyes on this type of stuff now, especially just because Rory basically did the same thing. I mean, it wasn't as sketchy, and he obviously doesn't have the reputation Reed has. But I think it's going to be more of guys are going to be calling in rules officials even when they don't feel it's necessary, just to avoid this. Um, but other than that, I mean, I think it's good. It brought more eyes to golf, and I mean, Twitter exploded. I mean, everybody was talking about it, not only golf fans, just people like baseball friends that I have and football friends that I have were talking about, what this Patrick Reed guy did. So I mean, I I don't love him or hate him. I'm indifferent. I love him every other year at the Ryder Cup, and don't really care. I mean, I bet him. I play him a lot in DFS, so I guess you can say I'm a Reed backer. But yeah, I think it's good. Keep cheating.
Yeah, keep cheating.
Yeah, I mean that goes to show you. And at the end of the day, like him, even if he like did improve his lie, like at the end of the day, he won the damn tournament by 5 shots. Like even if you assess him like a 2 to 3 stroke penalty, like it wouldn't have made a goddamn difference because he went out and he outplayed everyone. And to have the balls to come out on Sunday and play like that and give no let up, shoot -4 on the South course for the third best round of the day. You gotta give him his props. I mean, that just shows his mental fortitude, and that shows just how great of a golfer he truly is. Because I don't know many other guys that went through all that criticism, all that doubt, all that shit that people were talking about, go out and slam the door shut on Sunday.
While tweeting at people, from his actual account, forgetting to switch over to his burner. And yeah, I mean, he thrives off this. I mean, I feel like he kind of does this every now and then just to light the fire under his ass so he can go out and roast the field by 5.
No, so all right, so we are now at it's crazy from the note we're going. Now we're gonna go to the party mode note because we are at the Waste Management Phoenix Open currently this week, which is by far one of the most fun events on the PGA Tour. There will be fans, a limited 5,000 fans per day, and there will be some fans in the stands, which is a great sight to see as we're moving back to some normalcy on the PGA Tour. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, this event you've seen, I think, for the last 5 years, it's went in the playoff. It's an extremely fun event. We see major comebacks here, a lot of birdies, a lot of bogeys. It's fantastic. I mean, there's 3 par 5s, a drivable par 4 on 17, and this course is a 7,261 yard par 71. It's a TPC Scottsdale, so it's a Pete Dye design. There's some water in there. There's a desert. The rough isn't high, so like it's a pretty easier course. It's not too hard, but it's not like super easy. Like you come up and bite you at times. So, what are you guys looking at in terms of strategy? Like, what players are you looking at this course? Like, what type of skill set or what type of like just strengths players have? Because here, I mean, it's very seamless. Like, we've seen short hitters win and have success, and we've seen the longer guys win and have success. So I'll start with Griffin. Griffin, what are you looking at this event in terms of the player you would like to either bet on or use in DFS?
I would say any of these. Listen, we have fans for the first time in a long time. And I feel like the guys that are, used to that pressure or more of like a loud personality, I think Ricky Fowler is someone who actually is going to have a really good week this week. He's a people guy. You know what I mean? He's big. People love him. They rock their orange. I see you wearing your Puma stuff right now. That's what Ricky's all about. So I feel like, him going to the par 3 there that they have, was it 16? I didn't figure out hole it's on. It's just going to be one of those weeks where guys that, maybe have been struggling lately or just not been like kind of themselves. That's who's going to win it. It's going to be guys that can thrive under the big environment we're seeing now in these COVID tournaments.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's for sure. And Joe, what type of skill set are you looking from your guys this week? Whether it's like DFS or whether it's betting market, what type of players are you looking at? Because right here, in my opinion, it's a very seamless fit. And even with the crowds coming in, I think that's an unquantifiable type of like deal that you can bring in that you can't really understand who's going to make like have a positive or negative effect from that because I just say I agree with you, Griffin. I think that there will be an effect by it, but I just you can't predict who will be affected by it, who won't be affected by it. So, Joe, what type of player, skill set wise, are you looking at this event?
Skill sets, I'm looking for just pure ball strikers. Um, iron play guys that it's not an overly long course, but I mean you want to be in the fairway, obviously. So like you don't need to be John Rahm or Rory just bombing it out there, just hit it straight. Um, but on the note of the fans, I mean I'm a little wary to assume that it's going to have a huge effect just because there's only going to be 8,000 fans per day. I'm just kind of I'm interested to see what that sounds like because we're used to hearing the cheers, but like you can hear a difference in 0 to 8,000, but it's going to be a lot different from the 200,000 you normally get. So I'm a little curious to see how that's going to be, and if that's really going to affect the newcomers like the Will Zalatoris who everybody's on this week, and this is really his first PGA event in front of fans. I mean, I'm sure he played once or twice, exemptions. I'm not really sure of his history, but since we've been really following him and knowing who he is, this is really his first event in front of fans. So a guy like that, it might have an effect. I'm not sure it's really going to change anything, from the guys up top, but yeah.
No, 100%. And that's where I want to go on to. My skill set that I'm circling this week is pure ball striking. I mean, we've seen Hideki win here twice.
Right.
We see Ben Ann have success here. We've seen Kepka win. Woodland has won here. Fowler won here, but he also gained like 9 strokes putting that year. But Kyle Stanley's won here before. And like it's just the fact of the matter is like ball strikers tend to win this event. I mean, the greens are Bermuda, they're pretty quick greens. I mean, the correlate courses I personally have seen is basically like Sawgrass I've seen, where I've seen some correlation there just due to the fact of the fast greens. And also Farmers Insurance. Like the thing is with this event, like other than like Ken Stadler in like 2013 and like Kyle Stanley a years back, a lot of class players win here. Not like the super class players like the JT, the Rory, the Roms, but like Kepka broke out here, Woodland won, Hideki won, Fowler won. Like those card tier 2 guys tend to win here a lot. And that's where I'm going to circle because personally, betting wise, a spoiler, I'm not going to anywhere on the top because those odds there are extremely jumbled. And I'm going to probably start my card like 50 to 1 and up because I want to take a chance of one of those guys hitting their ceiling this week instead of going and trying to fish out a 10 to 1 or 11 to 1 on like a Rory or trying to find like a 7 to 1 on JT. Like, I don't see the value in that personally. I think there's too many elite guys this week up there for me to like kind of parse through. So I want to get into DFS first. So personally, to start off, we'll start at the 10K range and up. We have John Rahm at the head of the list at $11,200, and he has finished no worse than T14 year before. Now it's in his year as an amateur. We have Xander Schauffele at 11K. We have Justin Thomas at 10.8. We have Webb Simpson at 10.1, and we have Rory McIlroy at 10.6, sandwiched in between those guys. So I'll start with Joe. Who is your favorite upper echelon player this week?
My favorite's actually Xander Schauffele. In my model this week, Rahm came in number 1, which I was kind of expecting. I mean, he's had course history here. He's one of the best players in the world for a reason. And then Bubba was 2 and Schauffele was 3. And to be honest, they were all pretty close. And the big difference was Xander was a little bit lower on the strokes gained approach, which is big. It's what I'm looking for this week. However, in the past 12 rounds, I usually base my models in the past 36 rounds. The past 12 rounds, Xander is above both Rahm and Bubba. So if you're looking most recently, Xander probably would have been number 1. And he's got everything else. He's got, the tee to green, the putting, the accuracy. You don't need to be absurdly long, which, he's not a short knocker, but he's not pumping at 330 down the fairway. But he's my pick to win this week. It's just been too long. I mean, he hasn't won in 2 years. I was shocked when I heard that. It
Since
just
2019
doesn't.
as a TOC.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's been that long because he's just always right there, especially in the big time events and the WGCs, the no cut events. I don't know. I like him, and I like Rory because a lot of people are going to be off of him because of this is a JT type of golf course. John Rahm has played well here. Everybody loves Webb at this tournament. Rory's going to kind of sneak in under the radar. He's my projected lowest owned of this bunch. You give me a contrarian Rory McIlroy, I'm taking that all day.
No, 100%. And I'll go into my opinions in a minute, which is going to line up similarly to Joe's. Griffin, what's your opinion of all those players I just listed? Who's your favorite guy from there?
That top, I have at JT, was it at 10-8 right now? I feel like he's going to put everything that's gone on in the past couple weeks behind him. He had a terrible, what was it, in Abu Dhabi, whatever it was, like 2 weeks ago. That was brutal. I feel like he's just going to come back. It's going to be a refreshed JT after taking that week off. I feel like at 10,800, he's above that $10,000 like range. I feel like that he's just like the best player to pick right now for me.
No, I mean, he's finished in the top 10 the last 3 years, and he talk about course history. He has like excellent course history here, and I don't think enough people really talk about that. I don't know why, just from all the podcasts and from the other people I've read and like just listened to, like they really like his course history here is very elite. So I mean, he's easily always a great play. I mean, he's a seamless fit anywhere. This is the type of plays. Give him a driver, wedge, blend, bomb, and gouge, and he'll finish with like at least minus 15. So that's never wrong. My favorite play from here personally is Rory McIlroy. He gained in almost everything except putting last week, and I'm not bothered by the lack of Sundays the last 2 weeks that he's had, just due to the fact like with Rory McIlroy, he's either going to try to win or he's going to do everything in his power to do that. And he was just pressing late Sunday at Farmers, which that's why he gas canned and finished at like -6. Personally, I just think that after he saw he couldn't win, he just kind of packed it in and he just pressed and tried to make so many birdies. And when you do that at Farmers and you go wayward your drive, not really going to tend to make the best results out of there. I like Rory a lot, and I kind of like Webb too. Because, I mean, he won here last year. I think that people, why they like to use Webb here and always use Webb on Bermuda, personally, I just don't think that he'll go as highly owned. Maybe I'm wrong by that. I haven't really checked out projections that much on Fantasy National, but I just think that Webb is going to be like kind of like falling behind because I think a lot of people are going to use Xander and a lot of people are going to use John Rahm to start off their lineups, and you can't really cram in those two 11K and 10K guys this week unless you really want to go stars and scrubs, which is a viable option. You can go either way, but I personally don't think that's the solution there. So I'm going to jump into the next range. So the next range starts off with Hideki Matsuyama at 9,800. You got Daniel Berger at 9,600. You got Sung Jae at 94. Harris English at 93. Palmer at 92. Scotty Scheffler at 91. And Willie Z at 9K. So I'll start with Joe. Who's your favorite player from the 9K range?
I got two. And there's a lot of people that I absolutely will refuse to play this week. This is a very boomer bust group for me this week. I love Sung J M. He's been not great of late, so I think a little bit of people are going to be off of him. He's been very average for his standards. Last week, hopefully people didn't notice it, but early Sunday morning, I mean, he was rolling. He posted 5 under on the front 9 at Torrey to get up to -9 and approach the lead and then just exploded on the back.
42 on the back 9.
42 on the back 9, which pissed me off because I had him in a top 10 bet, and he was T2 for 9 holes and then ended up, I think he finished in T32 or something. It was pretty dreadful what he did on the back 9, but I love him this week. This is a perfect type of golf course for him. Just hit the ball straight, hit your irons well, be average on the greens, and he's generally a fairly good putter. He's best on Bermuda over any other grass type, and I also really like Ryan Palmer. The price is a little, tough to look at. But I mean, at the same time, over the past year, this dude's been incredible. He's been, fringe top 20 player in the world over the last 12 months. And I mean, the theory goes whenever John Rahm plays well, Ryan Palmer plays well. And this is another course where John Rahm plays well. I mean, we saw it last week. I said the same thing. When he played John Rahm, play Ryan Palmer. Last week, Palmer actually beat Rahm by a shot. So I like those two a lot.
So yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with that. Also, to add to your Sungjae point, I mean, Sungjae is a Pete Dye specialist. He's finished high at Wyndham. He's won Honda Classic. He finished pretty high at Sawgrass before too, if my memory serves right. Overall, the guy loves Pete Dye courses and loves like these not like with the Bermuda greens at these Florida type of courses too. He plays extremely well, so he's always a great play at this event too, in my opinion. So, Griffin, who's your favorite player from the 9K range this week?
I got Harris English. I mean, he's 7 out of 9 for cuts made, like 5 top 10 finishes. He had a terrible first round last week at the Farmers. He's like 78 or 79, and then if you look at the rest of his scores, I mean, he's pretty much always under like 72, which that'd be nice to always say that. But so I feel like he's just a good pick right there. I mean, value. I mean, yeah, he had a tough last week, but other than that, he's been pretty hot.
No, yeah, for sure. And like the thing is, with Harris English, no one's going to play him this week because of how he burned everyone last week, how awful he did on Thursday, and that cost me a lot of money because if Harris English made the cut, I was looking at a really nice payout because I had Norlander, Rory, Reed, and someone else, and Straka in the same lineup. But thanks Ben and fucking Harris English. Anyway, Joe, who's your fades this week from this area?
I'm fading Decky, and his ownership actually came in a lot lower than I was expecting it to. I thought he was going to be one of the higher owned players in the field. Right now, I see him coming in around 11.5 to 12%, which isn't a bad range to play him. I don't know. He's been so bad on the greens lately. And maybe I'm missing something that he's going to come here and find a happy place that, he's won twice. He has a runner-up finish here. Maybe he'll find something here, but I don't know. I'm just not willing to pay up to 9.8 when, I can get him, I can get Berger, I can get Palmer, or, get two 10K guys and then drop down into, the low 8s, high 7s.
No, I agree with that, and I'm personally gonna be late on Hideki in any DFS format. It's just the fact of the matter is like I'm just not confident with just his game and everything like that of his nature. Personally, though, I mean my favorite player from the 9K range is Berger this week, and I've seen that he's gonna be highly owned. I mean, the fact of the matter is that I just like him. This is his type of course. He's been the guy that like go over the top and defeat these like hyper elite players like at Charles Schwab. He went and out and defeated a heavily stacked field. So I definitely like Berger this week personally. Do you want to fade anyone here, Griffin, from the 9K range at all? Like who's your least favorite guy from here?
Honestly, I didn't look to see who my least favorite is. I mean, yeah, I don't think the problem was when I was looking at that 9K area, I didn't have anyone that I hated. I just didn't have anyone that I truly loved and that I really wanted to go for. And that's kind of why I picked Harris English, just because of like how he just looked so consistent at everybody else. So I wouldn't say I have anyone that I'm fading or that I would like, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, that's how I felt about this range. I mean, I had guys who I absolutely like. I don't have anyone I absolutely love, but the only guy I really hated was I hate Scotty Scheffler this week. He just looks completely lost. Mm-hmm. I mean, the new driver in his bag has been really bad for him. I mean, he's lost strokes off the tee in the last 3 events, and like here, you don't get punished for that necessarily. But he just doesn't look like the same Scotty Scheffler. And he's like kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. He's feast or famine. I mean, he goes out and posts a 65. Then he'll follow it up on Saturday on the next day with a 79. I mean, he was 1 off the lead after Thursday and then went to South Course on Friday and missed a cut. I mean, he almost fucking full Keegan Bradley the damn tournament. And he's missed the last couple cuts. He's just been wildly inconsistent and a guy that I want to see have some beginning and some results before I go back to him, because personally with Scheffler, he doesn't check any of the boxes for me. So, all right.
And to piggyback real quick, I mean, he's looked terrible since he had COVID. And I just don't know if maybe that's what's having an effect, because he was one of the hottest players in the world, the 4 or 5 weeks leading up to the U.S. Open when he tested positive. So I just wonder if something's lingering. I don't know how else to say it. Something's lingering from the effects of that. Who knows?
No, 100%. So we're going to go to the 8K range. So it starts off with a weird name, Louis Oosthuizen at 8,900. Then you got Brooks Koepka at 8,800 bucks. You got Matthew Wolff, who burned everyone last week. He got cursed by Eric Patterson at the score at 8,700 bucks. Ricky Fowler at 8,600. You got Bubba Watson at 8,500. You got Billy Ho at 84. You got Gary Woodland at 83. You got Henley at 82. You got Siwoo Kim at 81. And you got Brian Harman at 8K. So I'm going to segue this to Joe. Who's your favorite 8K player this week?
I got a tie I between Russell Henley and Siwoo Kim. I'm not really sure. I'm probably going to do similar lineups with both of them. Russell Henley's just that ball striker that, if he can do something on the greens, then he's going to be just fine, especially at a course like this where you don't have to be, overly long. And Siwoo, he's underrated. He doesn't get quite the recognition he deserves. I mean, he's now a 3-time winner, and had his opportunity last week to come down off of the previous win, and get back to business. And I also like Ricky this week. I don't love him, but I do like him. He's been trending slowly in the right direction, and I think this could be a good week for him to top 10. I don't think he's going to win or even really contend Sunday afternoon, but I think he can, backdoor his way into a top 10.
So I want to add something to Siwoo Kim, and I don't know if this will change your opinion on him for this week or not. Siwoo Kim has lost the most strokes at the Waste Management Phoenix Open in the last 5 appearances of any player in those fields.
Really?
Yes.
I missed that when I was looking at it.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
If you go back and look at his course history here, it is abysmal. And I don't know what it is. Maybe with the fans, because Siwoo doesn't seem like a guy that would jive with the fans that much. The ladies he would, but the fans in general, not really that much.
It's interesting.
But he has had a horrific track record here. So I would err on the side of Siwoo Kim. I'm not really interested in him because
his numbers jumped at me. Everything, not course history, just his approach game, his tee to green, his around the green, everything jumped at me. I guess I missed the course history there.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because you would think on paper this sets up really well for him because just drive it far, iron and wedge your way around the course as a ball striker, and you do great. And not saying he can't do great this week. I think he can. He has the game for it, and he has the fit for it here. But I don't know what's about with this course. He's been god awful. So I want to add real quick, and then I'll swing it over to Griffin. But my favorite play this week is Bubba Watson, 8,500. The guy has finished in the top 10 here, 6 of the last 12 appearances. Bubba loves to play places well where he's played extremely well at. I think he is actually the winner this week. And I think this range is dangerous because you have a lot of high upside guys. I mean, Bubba, Wolff, and Brooks hit their ceiling. They're one of those elite type of players. And I think the winner, and even Ricky too, I think the winner is going to come from this range. I don't know who to parse out, but my pick would be Bubba Watson, just due to the fact of his course history here. I'll give him a pass for the miscut at Farmers Insurance. The weather he played at the South Course was horrific in those tough conditions. It was his first start of the new year. I give him some slack, and we're at a Bubba happy place, and he's due for a win here. He's finished inside the top 5 times here as well. So sign me up on the Bubba train this week, especially with no fans too. I think that really helps out Bubba Watson. So sign me. I'm all aboard the Bubba train. Who are you aboard on the train, Griffin, personally from this range?
Ricky Fowler. I brought him up earlier. I mean, he's 8,600. Like I said, I don't have any real true stat to back up my thought process, and that happens way too often, especially with gambling for me. I just see whatever I like, and I'm like, I'll take it. I just think Ricky is just. You mentioned before he's won here before. It's going to be a week where I feel like he just has that chance. We're just going to see things this week that I feel like those like top 7 guys, top 8 guys that you're seeing in a lot of these lineups and a lot of just in betting in general. I don't think they're going to come away with a win. Maybe a top 10, new top 5 in that area, but I think it's going to have one of these like lower guys, mid-range guys, that come away with a win this week. So I think Ricky's, for my money, he's worth it.
No, 100%. I mean, he's been trending extremely well within the tee to green game. I mean, he gained on approach last week. He gained off the tee last week. He just couldn't buy a putt. And Ricky Fowler usually doesn't do that. I mean, he lost 4.5 strokes putting last week. And Ricky Fowler doesn't do that very often, extremely rarely. And this is a course where he's the happy place. I mean, the last 7 times that Ricky Fowler's played here, he's gained 2.6 strokes putting or more. I mean, this guy has a putting ceiling where he could just make everything. And I mean, that year that he won in Phoenix in 2019, I mean, he gained like 9.8 strokes putting. I mean, he putts so fucking lights out here. So I like Ricky Fowler this week. This is a great place for him, a great place to gain confidence at. I also do like Matthew Wolff too. I mean, I know he burned everyone last week, and I don't know about his finger injury, but I just think he said he packed in and was like, fuck it, I'm not playing these like awful conditions the next day. I like Matthew Wolff this week. This is a great fit for him. And usually when you see like the correlation of where Ron plays well or Bryson's played well, because Bryson has finished in the top 10 here twice in 3 appearances, Matthew Wolff tends to follow that suit. So I like Matthew Wolff too. I don't know what the hell to do with Brooks Koepka. Joe, who's your fade from this range, and what do you think of Brooks?
I'm not. You couldn't pay me to play Brooks right now. I'm just so sick of playing him outside of the 4 majors. I had him last week. I was all over him the week before. He's missed both cuts. I don't know. I mean, the price is juicy. The odds are juicy. I mean, just based on name value, he hasn't shown me anything at all since he left his Claude Harmon. He's done nothing except miss cuts. So I'm out. I'm also fading Matt Wolff mainly because of the sour taste in my mouth. I think his hand injury is a load of shit. I think he just didn't want to play on Friday.
He packed it in, yeah, exactly.
I mean, and you see that all the time. I mean, Tiger does it. I think Rory's done it. Like, it's just like the guys do that. It is what
Jason
it is.
Day. Jason Day does it every other fucking tournament, basically.
Yeah, whenever he starts off bad, he starts to get dizzy. I don't like Billy Horschel either. He's usually a guy that I play pretty often, just because he's just very consistent. And I don't know, I'm just not into it this week. His iron play has been pretty bad lately. He's outside the top 100 in strokes gained approach in the last 36 rounds. So I'm out on him. That's one of my big fades here.
Do you have anyone that you personally dislike out of this range, Griffin, or not really?
I mean, out of that range, Koepka. I mean, Joe just kind of said it. It's just like outside of the majors, it's like it's not even really worth. I mean, yeah, is he a good player? Sure, but I don't know. I feel like I just haven't seen anything out of him that's like worth it. That's how I feel about him.
And personally, my opinion on him is I don't think he's one of the best players in the world. I think he's got one of the best mental games on the planet. So when he really wants to play well and he gets it going, it's hard to slow him down. It's hard for him to get going.
I feel like I mean, this could be a bold prediction or bold statement, but I don't think he does turn it on for like the majors and all that stuff, but I don't think him winning all those majors is because like, oh, I just want to show up for the majors. It's like, dude, you got kind of lucky. You know what I mean? Like, I show up and say I'm going to play like really well that day, and I shoot 90. I mean, it just happens sometimes. Sometimes I shoot really well. I feel like him saying he's going to turn it on whenever he wants, that's kind of a load of bullshit in my head.
No, I mean, I tend to kind of agree with that too. I don't think he just turns on whenever he wants, and I think that it's like the gambler's fallacy. Like, he has the same equal chance to win like a WGC or a loaded ass field like Genesis than like a fucking major. It's not like, oh, I can't wait to bet Brooks Koepka at US Open because he always plays the US Open well. Like the U.S. Open venue changes every year. It doesn't matter whether you played last year's U.S. Open well, because this year's a completely different track, and we've seen that with guys in the volatility. I mean, where was Brooks Koepka at the PGA Championship? Yeah, he hovered around the leaderboard for quite some time, but then at the end of the day, he finished outside the top 25. So him saying all this shit like, oh yeah, I just show up for the majors, or oh yeah, that's all that matters, and like somewhat like Adam Scott camp, where there's only 10 to 12 tournaments that matter each year. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, you're not Tiger Woods. Like, you don't have the right to say that yet, but like,
well, when do you have the right to say
right,
that? I mean, he has won 4 majors.
Yeah, but that's
another. I'm with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I mean, at what point can you do what? At what point did Tiger get to the point where he can say, fuck you to this tournament or that tournament? Just curious.
Probably after he won, after he just transferred the game of golf. I mean, after he kind of won that Tiger Slam, in my opinion, and just put a vacuum in the PGA game and just gave these guys an outlet. So many, the game has changed so much because of Tiger Woods, the sponsorships, with the amount of money these guys are paid, with the amount of network television the PGA Tour gets. And I just think that overall, not that you have to get to that point of being iconic, but at the same time, show me some more consistency. Win a FedEx Cup, win a couple events a year. You don't have to win majors for me. If you just showed up each week, played well, DJ and Rahm and Justin Thomas, these guys that compete at a lot of a high rate, Brooks Koepka is feast or famine. He either goes out and wins or comes inside the top 3, or he misses the damn cut. And yeah, it's nice betting him, because at least you don't have the guys that finish inside T30, because they pay the same thing other than the guy that wins. But overall, I think that you shouldn't be so full of yourself. For the fact of the matter is that we haven't seen you at your apex game in quite some time. And I want him to win. I like Koepka. But at the same time, I'm this fake phony alpha bullshit, I'm not here for it.
Okay, he's taking it a bit too far. Yeah, I think he's good for the game the same way Reed is.
With that being said,
got to win.
Yeah. What's up?
I was just saying, I think he's good for the game the same way Patrick Reed is. When he's winning, golf is more entertaining because he's that arrogant asshole that non-golf fans are going to tune in to watch. You got to win more.
Entertainment value.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I would respect him more. I think it gets to a point now, to give to your answer, I think I kind of danced around it, that if he just won some more events, it doesn't have to be majors. If he won some more regular season events, I'd have a lot more respect for him. And then he'd be able to say, yeah, only 20-something tournaments matter or whatever. That's fine. So let's go into the 7K range. So we'll start at the upper sevens. We'll go parse out from 7,900 to 75. We got Max Homa and Corey Connors at 7,900 apiece. We got Jason Day at 78, along with Carlos Ortiz. We got at 77, we got both Sam Burns and Matt Kuchar. We got at 76, Cam Champ, Taylor Gooch. We got my boy Henrik Norlander and Chris Kirk at both 75, along with Jordan Spieth at 75. So we've entered in some new depths with Jordan Spieth being sandwiched in between Chris fucking Kirk and Brendan Steele. So let's just go from 75 to 79. I'm going to start with Griffin. Who is your favorite player from the upper sevens?
I got 2. I got Max Homa and I got Corey Connors right there. Only because they both have a lot of top 10, not top 10s, a lot of cuts they've made so far this year. I feel like they're both just safe picks almost. Homa is just hysterical with his whole Twitter thing. So I picked based on my little fangirl action I had for him. But I do think both of those are 2 great picks value wise. And I think they're not going to win, but I think they're going to, do well this week at Waste Management for sure.
I like Homa a lot this year. I'm not in on Connors because around the green game does matter around here. And every time we see Corey Connors miss a fucking green in regulation, kind of a disaster waiting to happen. But I do love your Homa call out a lot because Homa's played this event really well. He finished inside the top 10 here last year. This is a home event for him because he grew up in the Arizona area, played the sports millions of times. And with the lack of fans here, too, he won't have that pressure and obligation of getting his family tickets. And we saw that with Alexander last week. has best finish ever at the Farmers Insurance for a guy that usually misses the cut there because he doesn't have the same pressure.
Yeah.
But I like Homo a lot this week. And I mean, he's going to be like 12% owned. That's where I've seen so far. And I like the ownership be damned. Like, I think he's a really good fit. His game's trending in the right direction, too. I like him a lot. Joe, who's your favorite player from the upper sevens?
I do like Homo a lot. I like him in cash more than I like him in GPP. I just think he has a really high floor this week. I'm not sure what his ceiling is exactly, but I think at his price, I think he's going to be too high owned for me to use him in tournaments. But anyway, my favorite here, I like Norlander. His ownership is even higher. I mean, he's projected to be one of the highest owned players in the field. I'm not real interested in that side of it. If his number comes down, to maybe sub 12%, I'll play him. But I do like him. I'm betting him. I also like Chris Kirk. My DFS article came out today at FromTheStadium.com. I said it was so weird to see Jordan Spieth sandwiched between Chris Kirk and Brendan Steele and liking both of those players more.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And I like Chris Kirk a lot this week. And I am going to play a little bit of Spieth. I'm a Spieth guy. I think he can play well this week. He should have made the cut last week. He didn't, but I'm going to play him this week. Not a lot, but I'm going to sprinkle him in there.
See it, like, I just can't get behind. He can't drive the ball for shit. And the fact of the matter is, like, even though that's not that big of a deal here, he can't really an iron for shit. And the thing is with this, like, I could just see him now, like, being right on the cut line, heading into 16 and putting like 2 in a drink and making like an 8 or 9. And I know that's awful to say, but he's just too tilting at this point. Like, I don't like him this week personally, but I mean, who knows? I mean, he could just gain 8 strokes putting and 4 strokes around the green, and all of a sudden now we're talking. So, but my favorite
is, sorry, go ahead.
So, all right, my favorite player this week from the sevens, like the upper sevens that I was trying to parse through. I mean, I like Homo a lot, and I also like Carlos Ortiz because I think Ortiz probably has the highest ceiling from all these guys in the 7K range and just below 8K in general. He's a winner on tour at the Houston Open. Like, it's just that type of event. He played really well last week too, had a bad Sunday, but I mean, that's what happens when you're at Sunday and you're tied for the lead at the Farmers Insurance Open, one of the biggest tournaments on tour. I mean, it happens to you. But I like his game. I like what he's been up to personally. He's kind of trending in the right direction, and if he could just hit an iron pretty well, then he's going to really have a high finish here for sure. So what did you want to add on Jordan Spieth, Joe?
No. Well, my thing was he's projected to be 1.5% on this week, and rightfully so. I mean, he's been dog shit for the last 3 years. But at that percentage, if you get to the weekend, like, his whole thing is, I think he's got a mental block about getting to Saturday. Like, it's just every week he's, with one or two of the cut line. He's usually hovering, under the cut line for most of Friday, and then he just blows up on the back nine Friday afternoon. If he can get to the weekend, I think he can relax himself and make a run up the leaderboard. And at 1%, give me that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is my problem, though, personally. And just game theory-wise, if you want to go like that, which I like doing in tournaments and GPPs, I would just go to Jason Day at that point or Cam Champ. Because, I mean, Cam Champ at least showed you something with the irons and driving. He gained both a stroke and a half off the tee, gained 2 strokes on approach, but he lost 5.5 strokes putting in 1 round at the South Course. And I know he's been pretty bad, but Cam Champ does have that ceiling. And when he putts, he gains like 8 strokes putting. He has that ceiling where he can win. And this is an event that suits him pretty well. And he's like, you can make that argument profile that he's one of those guys that, like, if he won here, like, this would be his breakout win. Like, because people think that he can be extremely good on tour for years to come. I don't know what camp you guys are in with Cam Champ, but I think, like, I'd rather use him or Jason Day, a guy that just has shown more signs of life than Jordan Spieth at $7,800. Like, if I'm playing the game theory method, I'd rather use those two than Jordan Spieth. I personally am going to fade him and Corey Connors from this range because I just don't – I don't like where their games are at. I don't like how Corey Connors can't get up and down to save his life. So that's where I'm at personally. Do you guys have anything else to add to the 7K range at all? Like, just upper sevens or no?
No.
Not really. I mean, one of my big fades this week is Matt Kuchar, who's got the course history. He just hasn't done anything. He's a big name this week, like at this event, not right now in the world of golf. Just at this event, he's played really well. I'm kind of done with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's changes. Cooch is kind of getting too old. He's kind of like
Yeah.
he's like going through the Phil Mickelson thing, like his like vibe type way more rapidly. And he'll show up at like a very short course again, like a coastal course, like RSM or even Travelers. But it's just one of those guys that's gonna show up maybe like a handful of times in the tournament, and maybe it's this week, but he just hasn't shown any signs of life. So I don't see him showing up. So let's go to 7-4 and below. So 7-4 to 7,000. We got Brendan Steele, Brendan Todd, and Zach Johnson all at 7,400. We got Adam Hadwin, Benny On, the Riff Raff Rory Sabatini at 7,300, along with Emiliano Grillo at 73. We got Core Starling and Model Darling Luke List, John at 72. We got Russell Knox and Michael Thompson both at 72. We got my boy Sepp Straka along with Aaron Wise and Adam Long, plus Wyndham Clark and Sebastian Munoz, all at 7,100. And then to round out the 7K range, we got EVR, we got Charlie Hoffman, we got Marty Party Laird, who's won this event before. We got Patton Kazire, we got Shez Reavy, all at 7K. So from all these kind of like, they're not necessarily jabronis, but they're on the fringe of being a jabroni. Who do you like out of this range, Griffin?
Right now, I got Aaron Wise. I think he's had a tough start so far this year, but I feel like he's someone who can just. I mean, I don't really have any. The lower we get, I feel like I have less of an actual like reason for why I'm picking them, which is like probably the best case scenario for me because that's when I actually do well. I just think Aaron Wise, he's just gonna have a bounce back thing after he missed the cut last week and all that stuff. I just feel like it's got to be for the money. He's in a good spot. How's that sound? That's my final answer.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's fine. I mean, Aaron Wise tends to play really well at coastal courses. Another thing, like we brought off with Ryan Palmer and John Rahm, like look for Graham McDowell. Like if Graham McDowell has like played well at an event or won an event, Aaron Wise tends to play really well too. And I don't know why. I like kind of like researched that and I saw that and I was like, wow, like that very, very like really weird. Like at the Bermuda Championship, like Aaron Wise came inside the top 5. Graham McDowell's won the Bermuda Championship. So that's just a little nugget.
He's had like 4 out of 8 cuts or like 7. I saw the number earlier, but it's like I feel like he just has a good chance of like staying in this weekend and actually like making something happen.
No, and that's the thing too. Like when Aaron Wise does make the weekend, he tends to score pretty well and make a bunch of birdies. And at the end in DFS scoring, you want guys to make a bunch of birdies. And at this range too, you don't need a guy to come inside the top 15, not top 10. If he comes inside the top 30 or 35, then you're getting a leg up on the field. So I'm gonna go and parse this to Joe. Who's your favorite players from this range? There's a bunch of players from 74 to 7K. Who's your top guys from here?
Yeah, I mean, I love the entire 7K range for the most part. I'm gonna be living in there in most of my lineups. I like Ben On. He's gonna be very popular. So I'm gonna sprinkle him in, but I'm also gonna pivot off him to Grillo, who's at the same price. The ownership is projected to be 13 for On, 7 for Grillo. So if you can give me that 6% leverage at the same price for a guy that's an elite ball striker. Yeah, virtually the same player. I mean, I think he's a better ball striker. The
only thing is like On's like really good around the greens and Grillo not so much, but he can't chip to save fucking life. But I mean, they're both like virtually kind of the same player. Like they get the same shit done.
And you see Grillo on the leaderboard more frequently. He's a little bit more consistent than on his. He's up and down. Like he can get really hot. I have a first round leader bet on him. Just because that's kind of the way he goes. He'll go out and shoot 65 and then he'll, shoot even the next 3 days. But I like Grillo a lot. I like Brendan Steele a lot. I tend to play him a lot when we get to these shorter courses where you don't need length. You just need some accuracy, just consistent play from tee to green. He's in that stretch. So I'm going to be, playing a lot of those 3 guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go to my guys. So I like a bunch of guys here, and like when I saw this range, I was like, this is where I'm gonna lose my money this week because there's gonna be so many guys here that are just like highly owned and guys that I love playing that always end up losing me money. But I'm gonna start off. So my favorite guys from down here, I love me some Adam Long this week, and I know that's like kind of off the board, but I mean at Amex he was $8,500, and now he's 7,100. Like, give me the 14. I'll buy the dip with Adam Long. He's played well here before. He's had 2 top 10 finishes here in the past like 5 years. And he's a kind of like a desert golf guy. Like, I don't know like where that like he's won Amex. He's finished here pretty well. He's just a good like LA kind of desert golfer, I guess. And I've seen that correlation quite a bit. So sign me up on some Adam Long this week. I think he's a guy that can make the cut. Coming off a miscut Amex where he burned a lot of people that used him quite frequently. I like him at 71. I also like Sepp Straka, who is kind of like everyone's going to gravitate towards Luke List this week. And Sepp Straka virtually did the same thing Luke List did because he shot the round of the day on Sunday at 65. And I like me some Sepp Straka this week. I think his ceiling is extremely high. Like, the thing with Sepp Straka is he like gains 5 strokes on approach 1 week. Then he'll lose 4 strokes on approach the next week. But then he'll like gain 3 strokes putting the 1 week, then lose 5 the next week. Like, if he pieces everything together that he has in his arsenal, he can go out and win a fucking tournament. And like, I think he has that type of ceiling where he can stun a field. And I know it hasn't really happened at this event, but we've seen guys make runs here. I mean, Brennan Grace 2 years ago made a huge run here. I mean, we've seen guys that aren't really the highest names make run here. So I like Straka. I love my boy Sebastian Munoz. If you like read my articles every week at FromTheStadium.com about betting each tournament, I usually have Sebastian Munoz inside my top 10. I love me some Seabass. He's a world-class player. At $7,100. I don't care what his fucking form is. He was in the tour. He was in the tour championship last year, finished well, had a wonderful 2020 season. He's one of those guys that's like now a mid-tier guy. And I think 7,100 is an awful price. And then I don't know why I'm playing him. And like maybe you guys talk me out, but I like me some EVR this week. I don't know. I don't know why. I love me some Eric Van Rooyen. I think it's just a ceiling and game theory type of play. He's been pretty bad, but I think his ceiling is extremely high. I think he can go out and finish pretty high. I mean, we've seen him in WGCs before, finish like high up. I like me some EVR. This is his type of course. There's not a lot of landmines for him to go fuck himself in, and this is where driving accuracy really isn't the most beneficial. So I like me some EVR this week. I think that he'll make the cut, and that he can compete and and score quite a bit personally. So I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts from this range at all, or no?
Oh,
not really. I mean, I'm a sucker for Marty Laird. I'm going to play him. I play him way too much for my own good. But when he's sitting at 7,000, I'll play him, especially a place where he's won. And this is a course that suits him. Yeah, that's it.
Do you have any comments on my EVR play this week?
Not really. I mean, I'm probably not going to do it, but more power to you. Every time I play him, he sucks. So I just decide not to do it anymore. I'm not going to put myself through it.
It's a smart man right there.
It's pretty smart not to play Eric Van Rooyen. Because the worst part about EVR is that he'll be like -3 through like 10 holes, and he'll get to like a par 4 11th, and like he'll put like one right in the middle of the goddamn lake. It's like, oh great, like that. Thanks, Ash. Yeah, like he's literally the South African Jordan Spieth at this point. Guy is like -4 through like 15 holes on round 1, and then I'll check back like 40 minutes later. He's like +1. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Then I see double bogey, and a bogey. I'm like, thanks, Frederick, you fucking asshole. So let's go to below 7K. So we'll start at the upper sixes. I'm not gonna read off everyone's name here. Who do you guys like out of the upper sixes?
I got Keegan Bradley. He left last week. No one knows why. I just feel like something obviously was going wrong, or something happened that we have no idea what's going on about. But he's going to show up this week, and hopefully he plays well. Whether it was a good thing or a bad thing for the reason why he left last week, I hope he plays well.
You got the little New England bias over there. I see he's a New Englander.
He's from Vermont. I've tweeted at Keegan Bradley. He's responded to my tweets before. If you scroll back far enough.
Claim to fame right there.
Oh yeah.
What he's got to start doing, instead of focusing on tweeting your dumb ass back, you should focus on getting this fucking putter right. Because
for sure, I agree with that. But if he tweets me once in a while, that's a good look for us. No,
no, 100%. Just poor fucking Keegan can't lose less than like 5 strokes putting at tournaments. So
it's unbelievable how bad he is at putting.
No, and you know what's the most tilting thing about Keegan Bradley is the fact is there's like 5 events each year that he puts. Like Adam Scott's like one of the more like elite players that's like in this category where there's like 10 like weeks a year where Adam Scott putts. Like last week was one of them at Farmers, and I have that like kind of thing circled for the U.S. Open. We'll talk about that at a different time. But Keegan Bradley at like 1 out of every like 5 events a year, he'll gain like 7 strokes putting. And it makes zero fucking sense. And it boggles my mind because then the next week he'll lose like 10 in a course of 4 rounds. It's just unbelievable that this guy is like, it's just unbelievable how awful a putter he is. And I can't wrap my head around it. I don't know. So Keegan, when you get with Keegan, you know what you're getting. So, hey, if he putts, he's going to finish really well. If he doesn't putt, which is probably going to happen, then let's hope he puts everything to 2 feet. So
I can dream. That's why he's at 6,900 this week.
Yeah, exactly. And when you get this thing, you're not going to get a perfect player. So He does have a high ceiling. What do you think, Joe, personally, from the sixes? Like, who's your favorite guy?
I like Tom Hoagie. I'm a Hoagie guy. I play him fairly often. He's been playing really well. Didn't show too well last week, but up until then, he's been top 20. I think it's 4 of the last 5 events he played, maybe 3 of the last 5. And like he's just one of those guys that he's always in this range. And if he makes a cut, he always outplays his price. So I just throw him out there every time. And I also really like Pat Perez this week.
Ooh, baby, I like that.
I like Pat Perez. I was doing some digging. One of the biggest correlation courses I found for guys of this skill set, like this little range, was the Valero, Texas at TPC San Antonio. And he's played really well there. He has 3 top 10s and 4 appearances. He's had a good course history here. It's been a little while. I think 3 years in a row he hasn't played here, but up until 2016, I think he had 4 top 20s in 5 tries. At 6,600, I'm going to play a lot of him, and it's that foreplay bias. I'm just a Pat Perez guy.
You had to watch that video. That's why you're taking him.
He's amazing. I love him now. I never really cared about him as a human until I watched them play the scramble and then watched the tour of his house, and I'm like, all right, Pat Perez is one of my
just want to smoke a cigarette with him. I don't even smoke cigarettes. I just want to smoke a cigarette with that guy.
He just seems so damn cool.
So cool.
So we got a question here about Harold Varner. So I personally don't like Harold Varner. Sorry to the viewer, to John, who just I was a little late seeing the comments here. That's my bad. But I don't like Harold Varner this week a lot. It's just that I want to excuse his bad event, but just last week he lost a lot of strokes around the green and putting, and that's atypical of Harold Varner. But I just don't think this is his type of event. I mean, he can finish well here. I mean, I won't be surprised if he scratch out top 30, top 35. But personally, I just want to wait to get at a better course for him. I really love him if he plays at Pebble Beach, at Pebble Beach Pro-Am. That's where I love Harold Varner. A little lower class field, of course, where he can go less than driver. He can go out, hit his wood, and then hit his irons and stick it close and make some putts. That's where I like Harold Varner a lot. And he's usually showed up at these courses where driving distance is mitigated. He showed up at Wyndham. He's shown up at RSM. He's shown up at these coastal courses where you can take less than driver off the deck. And at this event, you can do that, but not to extreme at those other events. So I want to lay off Harry Varner this week and just wait till I get to a different time for him. My 2 favorite guys from below 7K that I'm playing this week, I like Joel Damon, just due to the fact of his just based off course history here, based off the fact this is his hometown. I like him this week. He's pumped for this week. This is a course he feels like he could play really well. I like me some Joel Damon, and I also want to go down all the way to 6,300. Will fucking Gordon. Give me Flash Gordon here. Guy played well last week. I mean, why not? I like me. He's a real player. I mean, this guy, we don't know what he is. Like, we know what Tom Hoagie is. We know what Sam Ryder is. We know what CT Pan is. We know what fucking Scott Stallings is. We don't know what Will Gordon is. Will Gordon could be someone serious. I mean, he bombs the shit out of the ball. Why not? Why not sign up on him? He's a guy that can really bomb and gouge his place. He scores well on par fives. We have that drivable par four he'll play really well at. I like where he could do at this place. So I think Will Gordon and Joel Damon are my two favorite players from this range. I mean, I'm looking at it completely. I mean, I don't know, like Killer Keith, like from back on Bermuda, Killer Keith plays pretty well on Bermuda greens. I mean, he finished really well at the Sony Open too. I mean, I don't mind him at all, but that's what I really like out of the sixes. I mean, do you guys have any other thoughts on this range at all, or no?
What are your thoughts, if you have any, on Davis Riley? He was a step down from Willie Z on the Corn Ferry Tour. So he could be that guy that could take the next step. I mean, he's never made a cut as a professional on the PGA Tour, but I don't know. 6,100, he graded out fairly well. Granted, most of his stats came from Corn Ferry, where he dominated, which that doesn't necessarily apply. But I don't know. I'm a little curious.
Yeah, I mean, Davis Riley, I kind of like too. And like, this is a nugget for you guys too. Davis Riley's won more tournaments than Will's Outdoors, flat out. Like, he's won more on the Corn Ferry Tour than Willie Z.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not saying Willie Z is not a great player or can be a great player. The dude has competed. He's finished inside the top 10 at the U.S. Open and other marquee events, and even the Farmers last week, he finished inside the top 10. But at the same time, like, why not give Davis Riley a look? I mean, at $6,100, we don't know what this guy is. Again, when you're going into 6Ks, I want to take ceiling. And like, if there's that safe option that's good, like a Joel Damon, like, I don't know if he's safe necessarily because he's been pretty bad, but Joel Damon, I mean, he kind of turned it around on Friday. But overall, I want to take these unknown guys who can really pop off for us. I mean, look at like last week even. Like, Will Gordon was up top of the leaderboard for most of the tournament. I mean, Henrik Norlander was up there. I mean, I want to take guys that have that next gear that can get up there and go out. I mean, we all know like what Vaughn Taylor and fucking Ryan Armour are going to do. They'll either barely make the cut or miss the cut, and they're going to finish at like -8 and finish like 10 strokes off the winning score. Like, yeah, that's nice. Like, yeah, sure, but that's not good in these big GPPs and tournaments. If you want to separate yourself from the field, you have to find that one guy a week that finishes inside the top 15 out of the six to like low sevens, like 6K range. And like Will Gordon and Davis Riley can potentially do that. They have the skill set. They have that pedigree where they can get to that next gear. So I do like me some Davis Riley this week. Personally, I would rather go to Will Gordon at $6,300 since he's had a track record to finish at like events. Like, I mean, finish inside the top 10 at the top 5 at the Travelers with the stacked field. I mean, he's finished well at stacked fields before. So I like me some Will Gordon more than that, but Davis Riley's a fine play, especially at damn near the minimum. Sign me up, sure.
Yeah, I have a couple lineup builds that I've already tinkered with that I started Rahm Schauffele, and the other one was Schauffele Rory. And I could go down and get Pat Perez and Riley, and I still got over 16,000 left for my final two players where I could still get, Russell Henley. I can get two guys in the eights. I don't know. Those lineups just looked really pretty to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, you can even go down to $6,100 like Grayson Murray. Grayson Murray's made every single cut here that he's played. He's made he's 4 for 4 in cuts made. And he lost I think he lost 9 strokes putting last week. Like, I mean, not saying that he can't do that again. Grayson Murray, not a great putter, but I think personally, I mean, he's done solid enough here. He's a guy that rushes the ball, hits his irons decent, can have a hot week. Like, I just personally would rather go to guys that I know what they can do. I don't really know what they can do, but they have the high ceiling. So I think Davis Riley and Will Gordon are great plays, and you can go to like the conventional plays like a Keegan Bradley, like a Joel Damon, guys that can get really hot with irons. Matthew Neesmith too is really interesting to me because he kind of got his irons back. I think he led the Farmers Insurance in approach last week, which is unbelievable. So that's all I really have to say DFS wise. You guys have anything else to add at all or no?
No.
No, random Grayson Murray Nugget. I beat him in a golf tournament when I was 14, and he was 12
Well,
in North Carolina.
holy shit! Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Maybe you
random
should be
Nugget.
playing.
In the long haul.
It was a little. He beat my ass now, but I have one shining moment where I beat him in a tournament. He was barely in my age group. I was at the
Just
top of the group. He was in the bottom, and yeah. But no, that's it for DFS.
You should be playing at the Waste Management show. You'd be a nice
Yeah.
You should be a nice $1,600 guy. Make the cut.
I could play with Jordan Spieth. I can make a couple birdies and then throw a couple eights out there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, hey, get me out on the damn course. If anything, I'd just be entertainment because I would just do a pull fucking like Zach Levine or I forget the guy Spencer Levine from like 2014 smoke like a shit ton of cigarettes on the back nine because why not? So I want to go and break into gambling this week. So the odds board this week is extremely, extremely tough. And I hate it personally because you have like 7 elite guys who are like below 15-1, 16-1. I mean, who are you guys betting this week personally? I'll start with Griffin because this is his favorite segment of the show. What's your card looking like, my friend?
All right. I have a lot of weird stuff going on. Let's go picks to win. We've already talked about Ricky Fowler. I mean, he's plus 4,000. Definitely going to take him. I got 4 guys in that pick to win. I got Justin Thomas, Webb Simpson, and Max Homa. Justin Thomas plus 800 and Webb Simpson's plus 1,200. So it's not like crazy. They're pretty much at the top of obviously the DFS and obviously the top of just to win this week. But Max Homa plus that 7,000. I don't know what it is. I saw it and it's like when you see a shiny penny, you're just like, that looks good. I want to grab that. So that's what I did. I like all of them right there. Top 5, I'm going to stick with Webb Simpson in there. We talked about Ricky Fowler. I got him again. I got Max Homa. I got Rahm at plus 160. And then I think we brought him up earlier, Schauffele. He's only plus 200 this week. I feel like obviously you're not going to make a lot of money off of it, but I do feel like he's just a good bet. And after listening to everything that you guys have said so far, Bubba Watson is slowly going to probably be a top 10 pick for me at plus 400. I have a lot of stuff, and I got more matchups to go to, so it's my head's spinning right now.
All right, Joe, where are you at in terms of your outright bets this week?
I think it has a lot to do with being a newbie to the sports betting world now that it's in Virginia, and I don't know, this board looked really good to me actually. And I had very little interest in the favorites, but I made 5 outright bets. Really, if any one of them hits, I'll make the money that I spent. So I did take Schauffele
15 times more too.
Oh yeah, if my big long shot, I'll be sitting pretty. I did take Schauffele. He's my favorite to win, so I figured it'd be stupid to not bet the guy that I actually think is going to win the tournament. So basically, he's the guy. If he wins, then I'll make my money back. I did take English at 28-1. I'm not playing him DFS. That's kind of my thing. If I'm playing him in DFS, I generally don't bet you or haven't, in the past 4 weeks since this started. I have a Ryan Palmer at 50-1, Norlander at 100-1, and my bomb Pat Perez at 250-1. That number was just amazing. I was like, I'll throw a little bit of money on that.
Okay.
He's won before. It's not like he's never won. He's won 3 or 4 times, so he's done it. It's just been a while.
Yeah, just pull Ken Stadler and come out of the woodwork and win. I mean, guys have fallen out of the sky and won here before. So I mean, it's not unheard of. It hasn't happened recently, but we'll see it can happen either way. My favorite outright bets this week, I have 3 that I've made in terms of outright winners, and then my gambling article will be out tomorrow. We'll parsing through my top 10 bets and my matchup bets for the week. I'm 25 and I think I'm 25 and 7 for the year in terms of matchup bets. So been doing pretty well in that department. But my top 3 bets this week, I love me some Bubba Watson. Like I said, I grabbed him at 50-1. Sign me up on big Bubba Watson. Hell of a history here. This is a Bubba happy place. The lack of fans, I think, helps him out a lot because not the most people's person as we come to see. It's a great venue for him, great weather. Sign me up on Bubba. My other two that I like Matthew Wolf. I grabbed him at 60-1. Just think his talent's too good for that number. That's a blind bet. I'm not concerned on his finger. Great course fit here. I like Matthew Wolf. I think he can go out and win the waste. I think you go out and win Phoenix. I mean, the only thing that scares me about him is around a green game, but when you're betting outright winners, someone needs to do something they're usually not accustomed to doing unless you're betting like Rahm or Rory or like Justin Thomas or like Xander, like one of those guys that check all the boxes at 10-1 or 11-1. So I like me some Matthew Wolf at 60-1 outright. And then my bomb this week, I have a bomb. Give me Sebastian Munoz 175-1. And I'm top heavy play that too. I think Munoz has that win equity. I think he has that so he can go out and win. He's shown up in huge events before. He's placed high at FedEx Cup events. He's placed high at the Tour Championship. He doesn't mind a strong field. He doesn't mind showing up in strong fields. People are starting to fall off Sebastian Munoz quite a bit. So give me some Seb. I like him a lot this week. I think overall that he can do some things here. And I'm just looking this week personally. I'm fading the top and hoping one of them don't win because that's not a good bang for my buck. If I want to win, I want to win off a golf tournament. I want to bet. I'm going to bet guys from 50-1 and beyond, or like 45-1 and beyond, and hope one of those guys hits their ceiling. I hope Wolf or Watson hits their ceiling because then he can compete with one of those elite guys for sure. And that if that's the case, then sign me up. So overall, I really like that personally.
I took Wolf at top 5 plus 900. I mean, I know the same thing as you too. I feel like taking those top guys to win. Usually, if it happens, if you threw $100 on it and you win like 190 or not 190, you win like $900 on it, great. But if you're throwing $10, it's like $90 is like not that. It's like whatever. I mean, it's cool, but what's $90 really going to do for you? And you're risking if you're throwing $100 on them, like you're risking $100 and you hope you win. But if you can throw $10 on one of those like long shot guys and you can walk away with like $700 or put a couple $100 in your pocket, that's the way to go.
No, 100%. And like for me, like I usually bet on per golfer. Like I don't know, like usually I like range around like $30 to $50, maybe 75 to 100 if I'm feeling confident that week on a guy with shorter odds. But like personally, like if I throw like 40 on Bubba Watson this week at 50-1, I'm gonna win $2,000. Why not? I mean, that's nice. Like, granted, I don't think that'll exactly happen, but if it does, I'll be happy. I'll be happier than a dog than pig and shit. I mean, that's what happens, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's what everyone's really trying to do in golf and outright market. It's just trying to get that value at that range, and that usually comes within the 25 to 50 range because usually you get the best quality of player for that price. So,
100%. No, and matchup wise, I have 3 matchups. I'll just list them off real quick before we finish up here. Rory versus Rahm. I got Rory plus 135. I don't know. Why not? Thomas versus Schauffele. I got JT minus 115. Then Fowler versus Woodland. Fowler minus 145. I mean, I don't really keep too close of a track on my golf bets. I'm more of a hockey guy, knowledge wise at least. I know what I'm doing it there. All I can do in golf is drink beer and have some fun. So I feel like if I put some golf bets out, it's more for the fun money.
Yeah, exactly. And anything else to add? I like those matchups too, by the way, Griffin. I like them quite a bit. And I'm you might see one or two of those in my article tomorrow, honestly. But what do you like, Joe, this week, other than what you said, basically?
I have a couple matchups. Last week I went 1-1. I had Palmer over Ricky, and I had Rory over Rahm, which Rory fucked me on the back nine on Sunday. But I do like Rory over Rahm again this week, like you said. I didn't bet him, but I like that one. I took Ben On over Matt Wolf, and then I also took Norlander over Carlos Ortiz, which is a plus 116 bet. We'll see what happens. I think they're both going to play well, but I think Norlander has a chance to potentially win this event, or I think he's going to come top 10. And then I also have Ben On first round leader at 60-1. A bomb. I mean, I hit Alex Noren last week, so I'm riding that high. So I'm going to try to throw a bomb out again this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean the best first round leader I've ever hit. I hit Dylan Fratelli at the Masters this year for 100 to 1, which was really that was nice. But my first round leader bet this week, if I had to go, I want to go with Sepp Straka. I just think he fits that type of thing. I saw Wyndham Clark here be the first round leader last year, and Sepp Straka kind of reminds you of him. He can get extremely hot one round, and I think you can get him at 100 to 1. So sign me up on some Sepp Straka at 100 to 1. Go out and have a nice Thursday, Sepp. But other than that, I mean, do you guys have any other concluding thoughts on Waste Management Open at all, or nothing really?
No. Hope everyone, gets some good picks and makes some money this week. I mean, that's the name of the game, isn't it?
100%. How about you, Joe? Any final thoughts?
Let's go, Pat Perez.
Let's go, Patty.
Give me some money, my friend.
I think the foreplay and the Barstool guys would really appreciate that.
Well, I can thank them for me liking him.
What's up? Sorry, my bad.
I'll say I could thank them for how much I like him now. So
yeah, I'll throw some money on him too.
All right. So my final thoughts for the Waste Match Open is just have some fun this week. Just one more fun events, one more interesting courses we have in terms of the betting slate of the PGA Tour and just on the docket for the PGA Tour year in and year out. And it's right before the Super Bowl. So it's funny. I always get caught in this dynamic of sweating out and outright while with all my friends. This year it's a little bit different because of COVID. But when I'm usually with all my friends trying to watch Super Bowl, everyone's sweating out their anthem tickets. Meanwhile, I'm the degenerate that's sweating out a Sunday head-to-head matchup or like Ricky Fowler that year when he won. I bet Ricky Fowler at 25 to 1, and I was sweating the shit out that they was gonna gag it away to Brendan Grace at 5-shot lead he had. And all my friends were making fun of me for it. But man, I came out victorious, which I don't say that too often, but I think that will do it from the center cut. Subscribe, like the podcast. We all appreciate the support and viewership we get on this podcast. Give the From the Back Tees a shout out to, and From the Stadium. Great content coming from there, surrounded by a great crew of guys. And we'll catch up with you guys next week as well. Goodbye.
Let's go win some money, boys.
Let's do it.